Perspective is probably one of the biggest things that is overlooked when it comes to reality, happiness, sadness. The way you view something, or even the way you choose to view something, can have drastic effects on how you view the world. There's multiple different perspective analogies I could use. One would be if you hold a can and you spin the can counterclockwise. If you look at the top of the can is spinning counterclockwise. The same can, same spinning, nothing's changing, but you change the perspective and look at the bottom of the can. Your perspective is now that can's turning clockwise. If you look at it from the top, it's turning counterclockwise. If you look at it from the bottom, it's turning clockwise. In one reality, the can's turning one way. In a completely different reality, it's turning the exact opposite way. This is one of the problems with the world today, is your reality is based on your perspective and where you are at. The circumstances that brought you there and the events that led up to it. It can have an outcome on your perspective of life. I'll say you have a person whose life experiences have led them to looking at the bottom of the can, and you have another person whose life experiences have led them to looking at the top of the can. Well, now you have two people arguing, saying it's turning clockwise, and the other person is saying no, it's turning counterclockwise. That's one of the main problems with people who get into discussions. This is something that I've said for a long time. This is something I try to do, and this is something people really need to start trying to do. No one is fucking right or wrong. It's all based on your own perspective, your own life events, your life experiences that have shaped what you're seeing, what you're experiencing. When you get into a discussion with somebody, the point of the discussion should not be to prove to somebody that they're wrong and that you're right. The point to having a discussion with somebody is to go into it trying to understand why they have that perspective. Why is their perspective different than yours? Oh, it's different because I'm at the top of the can, they're looking at the bottom of the can. Argue all day long. Nobody's wrong and nobody's right. It's based on their perspective. Everyone needs to stop going into a discussion yelling, trying to prove the other person wrong and trying to prove yourself right, because nobody's wrong and nobody's right. Also, today I left the grocery store, and here in Western Washington, we've had horrible air quality. You can't see for more than freaking 10 miles. You can barely see Mount Rainier. You can barely see mountains. Today you can't even see Mount Rainier. You can't see freaking that far across the valley. This is perspective. This is one example of perspective. Finding beauty in everything. Somebody might walk out and see the smoke and see how disgusting and ugly it is. And yes, it's there because of something destructive. But I took a glance up at the sun just before sunset, and because the smoke was there, it had filtered the sun to where you can look at the sun, and it was a humongous blood orange ball. Humongous ball. And it was probably one of the most beautiful things I've seen. Find beauty in everything. You can find beauty in everything. You just have to change your perspective.